What if we could learn from outstanding leaders in business, sports, and education from some of the best voices in corporate America? Lighting the Path is a series of interviews with industry leaders whose stories highlight strategies that build purpose-driven cultures, engage and retain top talent, develop drivers that create high-performance teams, and connect people to the vision of your company. Join us to hear from game-changing, talented leaders whose paths make a difference at work and at home.
Today's guest, Tom Kosnik, has a special place in my life. And the reason why is he formed this company called the Vices Group. He's president of it. And years back, my partner, Tommy, and I joined the Vices Group for a season of time, which was a think tank. It's a round table type of thing of like-minded leaders coming together, specifically in the staffing industry. And I believe Tom actually planted a seed. He didn't know it at the time. I didn't know it at the time, because of what I'm doing today, which is doing workshop facilitation and actually doing leadership development. So in a way, I've followed Tom, but Tom's footprint in the staffing industry, I believe, is almost second to none. And the reason why, not just me was he influential on, but he literally has been influential to hundreds, nay, I say thousands of leaders, across our industry. So I was looking forward, Tom, to spending some time with you today on behalf of our leaders. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your interest.
Such kind words. Thank you, Mike. And we had a lot of fun in the early days of Vices Group when you and Tommy were with us.
Yeah, we actually learned a little bit too at the same time. Not only was it fun, but it's been fun watching both your journey and sort of the synergy between what you do and what I'm doing now, especially because of the new book that I'm in the process of writing now. It's called Move the Ball. It's helping leaders learn how to, and individuals, whether in your leadership role or not. My definition of a leader is an influencer. So our conversation today doesn't mean that you have a team of people underneath you. It's that you have the ability to influence other individuals in your walk. And there's never been a time, I believe, that's been more important for leaders, influencers, to raise their head because of two things. One is the chaotic environment that we're in right now with the swirling of information that you and I were talking earlier about, the speed of what's happening in the marketplace today. Share your thoughts. You have a unique window because you're looking at things from an industry perspective. What do you see happening specifically in the recruiting industries as far as people trying to lead that in today's time?
Oh gosh, Mike, it's so the executives that are in my roundtable, the companies that we consult with, so much is coming at them. When you think about the competitive pressures, you think about the clients and MSPs and VMSs and much more sophisticated buyers. You think about the sales methodology. Do you remember how we sold in the old days? I love telling some of those stories. You think
that's when dinosaurs ruled the world. But let's go a little bit more.
Oh yeah. But you think about technology, the speed of technology. You talk about internal employees, temporaries, just how the preferred method of communication. And of course, this culture development and personality profiles and hiring and matching. And we talked briefly about turnover rates in the industry and how senior leaders ultimately are responsible to create a culture and an organization that is engaging and compelling, that people want to work for. It's moving, Mike. It's just moving so fast, number one. And number two, gosh almighty, all the different changes in the variables that are coming at senior leaders in order to make good, solid decisions about their business and how to grow their business, how to better manage their business. It hasn't slowed down at all.
Yeah. So if you look at this time that we're in, it's not just the recruiting industry, but it's all businesses today are dealing with the same type of chaos that the recruiting industry is dealing with.
Right. Yep.
My question is, what's been your observation that leaders, are in the roles to help an organization scale? That's their role, to scale up, to be able to grow to whatever that next level is. What have you found has been the the Achilles heel of leaders that sort of prevents them from scaling up to the next level?
Well, Mike, if you want to grow your business, you personally have to grow. We see this all the time. Companies will get to the 20 million in revenue, the top of the owner operator structure. That to get to the middle market, you have to move from somebody, an individual or a married couple that makes all the decisions, to building a management team that makes decisions. So the way that you make decisions, the way you do your financial analysis, the way you do your planning, the way you communicate, your role as an individual within that organization needs to transform. You need to perform. You need to step into a different space in order to grow your business. So the Achilles heel is, and I know you've heard it, Tom. This is just the people. This is all I need to do is add another 5 teams, and I'll go from 20 million to 50 million. Mm-hmm. It's just a numbers game. It's a billable hours, and then when to try to transition from the owner operator up to the middle market, which we define middle market somewhere between 20 and 80 million in revenue. And I've been talking to a lot of folks that have grown these businesses, and they kind of over the years have given us the same numbers.
Kind of numbers along those lines. Used a real key word in here, the word transform. If you going from being an entrepreneur, solopreneur, build a team around you, as you try to scale up, you do hit thresholds.
Correct.
And those thresholds, as you try to break it, and you've thrown one out going from that early stage to that middle market stage. I think at the different thresholds that you hit, whether it's going from startup to 2-3 million, from that level up to that 10 million mark, which is which things start shifting, and then you get up to the 20 million. That's another threshold. But use the word transform. And what I think of, what stops leaders from transforming, because transforming is not changing. Transforming literally is a metamorphosis, right?
Yeah, correct.
That takes place. And what I found is that it's their inability to let go of here to be able to move forward. What have you seen leaders really wrestle with letting go of so they can make that transformation?
They don't know how to manage when they hire a competent individual to manage the sales function, manage the operation, manage the IT. They lack the skills on how to manage that person. Oftentimes they'll hire somebody better, faster, smarter than them. And there's 2 sides to that coin. I hire somebody better, faster, smarter than me. I go to bed at night. Oh my gosh, is that guy going to take my job? Or is that guy going to pull the wool over my eyes? So there's an ego component. So I don't let go, because my ego is, do I really trust that individual? Do I not trust that individual? Because I know in my heart he's better, she's better, smarter, faster than I am. So that's one piece of the equation. And then the other big piece of the equation is the compensation on how to comp and all that stuff. You can get experts out there. We do a lot of that work with people that own these business. But how do you manage those people that are now? So I know how to manage salespeople, right? I know how to manage recruiters. I know how to manage, but now how do I manage somebody who's managing all those folks? And that's a whole different set of competencies.
Betcha. Are you talking about the difference between managing and leading? Because at that threshold, you got to make a shift, don't you?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And we're not. And again, 2 words. We're talking about competencies, not necessarily skill sets. Mm-hmm. A skill is I learned to make a better phone call. I learned to work networking events. I learned how to publicly speak or sit on. Those are quote unquote skill development things, but competencies, that's much deeper in terms of I have achieved a certain dynamic in terms of thinking strategically, conflict resolution, make certain kind of decision-making matrices, utilizing mentors and coaches and things like that. So those are 2 big Achilles heels that I see that senior level or owners, business owners struggle with in terms of that management.
Yeah, I look at it. You're reminding me of a conversation I had just this week which was the difference between training and development. It's training somebody to do something is different than developing somebody.
Developing him as a human being, right?
That's the reaction I was looking
Oh my
for.
gosh!
When I said that, what did that make you think about?
I have a client that took a company, came in, knew nothing, didn't spend one day, didn't have one day of experience in the staffing industry, took this company from 87% turnover rates to 18% turnover rates. And how did he do it? The whole human development. He focused. They did a lot of training. They did a lot of skill training, but he created a whole cultural program of, hey, you come to work with us. We're going to help you become a better person in the world. We're going to help you become a better individual in terms of what your clients see and what your family sees. And he's got all these, I mean, fantastic, just great stories that just like, I want to go work there.
Yeah. So are there any particular topics in that without, releasing any confidential information? That's why I say topics. Any particular topics that fall into a human development program if somebody wanted to say, I'm going to take that mantle on myself?
Hey, so Mike, the power to see ourselves. So there's an HBR article. It was published back in 1962. I wish I need to know the name, but anyway, if you just Google HBR, power to see ourselves. So that individual, the guy that wrote that article, and if you read it today, you would think, oh my Lord, this article was written yesterday. It's applicable today. It talks about an individual. How does an individual really develop into what he calls mature leadership, mature management, going from tactical kind of management to mature being, hey, I got to do an assessment of myself. I've got to, whether that's a 360 or and there's all kinds of levels of 360s, interviews with people, coaches, mentors. Where are the gaps?
Could be as simple as taking an assessment just to find out how am I naturally wired and how I interact with others, and how might others be. Because what you're describing, there's 4 stages of leadership development. One is, if I want to work on my relationship with you, I got to understand how you are so that I can then manage me, so I can make adjustments. Right. That's the definition of EQ, right? It's, can I look at things through your eyes versus mine so I don't react and I can respond effectively? But it all starts with self-awareness.
And Mike, right? Salespeople, all the way down, salespeople, recruiters, the front desk individuals. So you can create, and I'm go back to your question of the gentleman and what in culture development, you can go all the way down to that level of employee within your organization and create something about, how do I become a more mature recruiter? How to become a more mature sales executive in the industry? Which again, it has to do with EQ, emotional self-awareness. That's a big one.
Huge along those lines. Then, so I suggest our listeners to look into the HBR article, and I'll try to find it and drop it in the show notes on this thing, because I think it's of high value. The number one thing that, from a growth standpoint, starts with the ability to look at ourselves, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so with I need to get your perspective on what's going on. You talk about speed, and I talk about the chaos of the marketplace. What are you seeing in the recruiting industry right now? And the reason I say that is not so why I asked this question, is that there are people who might be listening to this that don't come from that industry. But I believe that if you want to see the nerve center of what's happening in the marketplace, the window that we have in the staffing recruiting industry has a unique ability to see what's happening on a real-time basis, relationship to jobs and employment, more so than the jobs report, the unemployment rate.
I agree.
And so that type of thing. So because of that, I'd love to get your perspective on what you're seeing, that the clients that you work with and the people you're talking to, what's their view of what's happening in the market right now?
Yeah, their view is, of course, the industry right now, here 2023, October 2023, the industry's been down 10%. So staffing industry is in a recession. Clients of ours, they're not seeing further headcount drop or gross profit drop. So they feel like, hey, we're just kind of flat through the end of the year, and nobody is predicting. At least nobody's brave enough to predict what's going to happen in 2024. But my clients are saying that their services are only becoming more valuable. It's so crazy, Mike. Here we've got all the technology. You and I can read articles. We see these articles of, the staffing industry in 6 months is going to be, history with this new AI and this
Oh my God,
blockchain
yes.
matching and all that. It's the exact opposite. That
Yeah.
what my clients are seeing is that their services are only becoming more valuable. And when you think about, hey, look, we're not the only ones that have high turnover rates. And depending upon who you talk to, there are some studies out there that say when you take into quit rates, the people that retire out of their workplace, people that are eliminated out of their positions, that the average turnover rate with companies in the United States is 40%. So when you've got that kind of turnover rate, and even if you're at 30%, that's still a third
That's
of
massive.
the folks that imagine if you got a company, with X thousands of employees. Anyway, so then you've got younger people that are coming up that might not have as much gray hair as you and I do. and
Well earned.
hopefully a
Well
little bit more
earned.
wisdom.
That's it.
But yeah, so those hiring managers, they actually need to be coached on, gosh, all the tools out there and how to hire and how to develop a relationship with a staffing company that can bring talent.
Thanks for joining us today on Lighting the Path, Strategies for Tomorrow's Leaders. If anything in this podcast speaks to you, if I've challenged you, or if you want to spend time digging into this subject a little deeper, or if you disagree with me, reach out. My contact information is on our website, lightingthepath.net, or email me at mike@mikelejeune.com. Also, look for me on LinkedIn. I'd love to connect our networks. Keep lighting the path for those who choose to follow you. It's more than a responsibility. It's an honor.